So what? My little guy here. This is little Eddie. I'm big Eddie. Good morning. Very happy. Got my little buddy next to me. He's 14 or 15 years old by now. So we have history. Just as each one of you who has a cat or a dog has a history of loving another species. And this kind of love, the interspecies love, is really uplifting. It takes you out of the muck of everyday conflict to be heard or to make a difference. Because with he and I, it's a pure meeting with nothing to gain out of it, except to deeply feel the love we have for each other. Do you know how to drop into yourself? To sit quietly somewhere. Maybe out in nature or in your own bedroom, where you can sit and turn your attention away from the external world and have it point inwards towards your own self. What is the self? The self is you. The self is the most precious thing you'll ever have. It's the ability to focus your awareness on your own experience of your own self. It's the most important thing in your life. Even though a lot of Western philosophers, psychologists would disagree about the importance of this place. For some, it's like the act of manifesting humanness. It's the highest possible spiritual practice. And it is important to be able to find yourself inside of yourself, your beingness within your sense of being alive and aware. Once you know how to locate the sense of self, and it's certainly not easy to find it when you're new at looking for it. Point your attention away from the world and backwards into your own self. And you'll see and feel almost magical things, sometimes explosive things. Identifying with the so-called life force, or the will to be alive or remain alive. Turning the attention back on your own self. Focus mainly in your body, in the heart area. Can result in such utter ecstasy that you may feel like you don't want to leave this state ever. But you can't remain there forever. But these experiences do remind you of who you are. You're not your body. You're not your mind. But inside you is your own feeling about yourself. Taking yourself as the target of your own investigation. Why would you want to do it? Well, once you can experience yourself as you are, that experience captures you. Because for the first time, you know who you are. And it's the sense of being alive and in the world and speaking to others or listening to others about their experiences. Turning your attention around towards your own real self. When you do it right, results in such incredible ecstasy, happiness, joy. And my whole body feels to be on fire. Self-love. Love of myself is the same as love of God or the eternal. Because yourself is both. It's eternal. In the sense that in your brief life, no matter how old you are, there's one note that constantly is there in your experience, and that is of your own self as the basis for looking within and without. There's only one magical being. Who you are. And accepting that as yourself. And that is your experience of apprehending your own self. And with it comes an automatic worship of the life force. The life force sounds like a stupid term. But what it means really is knowing that you're alive and well, even if you're sick or hurting. The sense of being alive permeates everything within and without you. You may struggle to be seen amongst mankind. But there's one subject that is always there, that witnesses everything you do. And that is your own sense of self. Turn your attention around. Look around within the vastness of the scene that you're in. Your body in one place, the world in another place. And yet in this moment of time, they merge. And your sense of self pops open and embraces the world with love, just as it embraces its own self. And the feeling of self within us This worshiping cleanses us of all imperfections and sin. We become pure beingness, resting in our own sense of being alive, and diving within, find the vastness of our own self. Turn your attention around to the area of your heart. And if you don't feel anything, just keep trying to feel something inside in the silence. And one day you'll locate it. And you'll say, that's me. That's the true me. There's the self engaged in everyday life. Which is the same one I speak about now. But underneath that is truth in life itself, experienced by yourself, in yourself. And with it, an incredible happiness that sometimes borders on ecstasy and sometimes is deeply embedded within the experience of ecstasy, recognizing who we are as sentient beings. The essence is we are sentience and intelligence wrapped in one. Accept yourself. Worship yourself. Start doing it now. Because once you realize who you are as pure spirit, life will never be the same. Because in a way, knowing that energy or that feeling within oneself exerts an enormous power over my consciousness. My awareness becomes ecstasy. Most of the time, of course, this experience is not obtained. And what you find is silence of your own self, which can be intolerable for many. Because in that silence lies the ecstasy of self-realization. By self-realization, I mean we sink into ourselves. Sink into that experience of our own alive body and stay there. Don't leave to get something to drink or something to eat or to watch television. Spend this hour totally devoted to you. 1 hour a day. Let your only companion be your own self. In the life that shines through you. And peace will come to you as you gradually drop off all that in you that sticks to the world. There are many people that speak in this area. But usually they speak with the authority of what is revealed to you when you awaken to your own self. And you take that awareness and you just drop into it. Do it now. Drop into your own sense of self. And what do you find? Well, I find that my location now is within my own body. And it's a secondary reality to my sense of my own body, taken in its entirety. But it's like I merge into an ocean of awareness and happiness, awareness of who and what I am. And with that, a sweeping experience of ecstasy. No wonder sages tell us to find our own sense by looking within near the heart. What do you find inside? It's pure joy, ecstatic happiness. And I realized this at the beginning of my spiritual search. I would never have left it, even for a moment, because the feeling is This bliss will shield you and hold you and wrap you around an endless sense of happiness, bliss of being alive and quiet. When we're a noisy being, always searching or looking, we're trying to understand. And instead, just sink within. Give up looking to the world for your gratification. Instead, look at yourself, experiencing the world around you. And within that totality of experience, is the explosive sense of being alive. That embraces all of you and wraps you in its bliss. If only people knew how happy they would eventually become. Just blindly worshiping their own self, even if they can't find that self. Eventually you'll find it within you and around you. The sense of being alive, the sense of being sentient and aware. And that awareness can gently touch every aspect of your inner being. It's not a thing to know. You can't find it in books. But most of the masters have said, look within. I remember early on when I was doing it, I had the sensation, the feeling I would never truly know this because I didn't understand what the self was or where it was located. But it's located within you, within your body, within your life, within your sentience. So look within. And by looking within, you bring energy to the life force of your own addition of being a human being. When I was a kid, there was a mess. Brought up in a very dysfunctional family. learning all the things we learn as part of our both secular and spiritual education. That's who we are. But it takes a while for most people to find that self within themselves. And the reason it takes so long is the subtlety of the experience of one's own body from the inside. It seems too ordinary until continuous practice initiates you into the power of your own sense of self, your own sentience. What is it like to live in continued bliss? In this state, I guess you could do things, but you're still overwhelmed by the inner vastness of your own self. You can turn around and watch the self within and know that although it appears located in my own body, brings alive a whole universe now manifesting within myself. There's such ecstasy lying within you. And the only thing you can do is stop whatever you're doing and look within. When you look within for 20 or 30 years, and you find your own sense of self, that sense begins to transform into deep love. And collapsing of your false identity, built up through the years of living, no matter what it is, it's thrown away when you realize the inner self in you. Now there's no more to do, no more to see, because all that you feel is a vastness within you and around you, everywhere. And saints and sages make up knowledge about this place, creating various ideas of heaven so that they can talk to other people about it. But it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with my body. My body is only a small thing in the totality of my experience. But it's where my own ability to experience lies. I'm the source of everything in the world. But so are each of you. You are the magic of your own beingness. When you first start looking for this sense of self, you have no idea how to go about doing it. Not only witnessing yourself, but merging into the human world. And you'll see with your own inner eye that what underlies all of these happenings is your own self. Rather than being a lost, confused human being that identifies as being human, you trap yourself into your human birth. What if you could let go of that idea that you're a human body, and instead turn your attention around towards the experiencer, him or herself. The experience is very blissful. Joy, immense joy, and a feeling of depth. And all around me, I see the world, but at the same time, I see its emptiness because I do not give it power to be autonomous. I'll sit here just because I'm almost too happy to move. My body is very still. I can feel my body from within. I can see it if I look down at it. It's something within my own visual field. But what I feel is me. It's very different from being the object of my body. Rather than seeing a limited soul, when I look within. All that I see is seeing itself, whichever way I look, outwards or within. I am ultimately the knower of everything, the knower of being human, the knower of being sentient and aware. And the blinding power of my own sense of self. And the happiness it brings. All because I looked within and never stopped looking. Now I can't pay much attention to the world anymore. My sense of self has created this experience like of being of heaven. I am at peace with my heavenly self. Then your self is heaven on earth. All you want to do is sit still and worship your own self. Fall to your knees, so to speak, inside yourself, experiencing the awe of your own sentience. We all really are just this sentience. Can you feel yourself now? Can you turn your attention around? And follow my words, encouragement to find your own self within. And I've known this place 50 years ago. I would have saved myself a lot of time and energy and just kept looking within until eventually that looking within pays off. Because you have found the diamond that is you within. It now extends within and without everywhere. You extend everywhere. even if it appears to be miles and miles or light years away from you. You're experiencing the world within you and around you, everywhere. And rather than trying to understand it, drop that strife to understand. Into awareness of your own beingness. And let the beingness show you what you need to know. How to recognize your own sense of self. How you can energize it. And the magic that happens when it's awake and alive in you. Many, 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 many times. In the last 50 years. Have I struggled to understand where I am and what the world is? And true answers come after you. Stop telling your mind that it's the boss. No, it's you. It's your awareness that is aware of both the world and of the mind and of your own self within. Just stay there, glued to the experience of self. And this awareness, constancy of this awareness, will yield everything you want to know about who you are. And maybe with Buddha, you can say, I am all that is. Nothing separate from me. And you just rest happily in the experience of your own self. If you were to feel this, even for a few minutes, it'll totally change your life. Away from your identity, being an individual living in the world. Instead, you'll find out you're special. You are that which perceives the world, and thereby creates it, and allows for communication with others. The power of knowing who you are really. When I breathe, I watch myself breathing. This stillness quietly embraces and covers my experience of myself as ecstasy. Are there any questions? Everything you need, you already have. What you need to do is train yourself to continuously look and feel within. And once you've mastered that job, everything comes to you. You no longer worry about the future. The past doesn't dismay you, no matter what you did. Because you're immersed in yourself. You are pure happiness and joy. You're a kind you've never known before. And you have arrived at your own truth. That you are, you exist. And deep down, you're all the bliss and happiness you can take. I am not of this world. But because of me, this world is. Let's have one more 10-minute session. Joining with your own self. Turning around. Looking and feeling within yourself. You cannot see the self, but it's there. Experienced in your own body. The light of your own consciousness. I hear Radha in the background calling at our bedroom door. And usually, Garima will respond within a minute. Go open the door and let the cat in. No matter what time, the night or morning it is, she'll awaken long enough to let the cat in to her own home, her own life. And that's what we all are, sparks of sentience that ignite the awareness of the world, supercharges the experience of being yourself. Any questions? Any comments?
I have a question, Edgy.
Yes.
How do you know that we're all the same?
Is that it?
Yeah, I can put it in another way if you want.
Yes, please.
There are other ways I could put it. I could ask you, how do you know we are all one, or we are all the source? How do you know that from your experience?
By just turning within. Stop reading books. Stop searching in spiritual groups. Stop all
Yeah.
activities aimed outwards to understand the world, and instead just experience your own self in silence. Turn around every day, spend some time quietly sitting and looking and feeling within your own sense of self for the core, so to speak, only to find out that there is no core, but it's everywhere. Your sentience is everywhere. Your heart is everywhere and open to everything. But it's just turning your attention around from the external world and gradually deepening the feeling of your own self and what it's like. And over time, it'll become more and more subtle. And the bliss will come. And it keeps coming and coming and coming. I don't know what the tipping point was or when it was.
But Edgy, how do I know it's true for others too? I can find it for myself, but how can I know that it's true for others too?
Why are you worried about others? Worry about yourself. Take care of yourself. Know yourself. And that's the best thing you can do. Because then you become a direct manifestation of your own self. And your experience extends to the world and says, hey, there's something you need to look at. It's you and your own experience of you, your own long search for your sense of self. And it's satisfied. And then you can just talk about it to others. And that way, their house catches on fire too. And they're turned into a spectator of eternal, which all of us are. Whether we continue to experience the sense of self after death, I can't really say. Because I didn't have this experience as a kid, except briefly, once in a while. And every time I had the experience, it was overwhelmingly powerful. I'm sure everyone can have this experience if they take the time and have the appropriate attitude of humility and surrender. Surrender to whatever should be a constant practice for you and everyone. It's how you get to know who and what you are by surrendering everything that you are not. You identify with so many different things, ideas, people. Now that only the life of the world, the human life, is truly recognized within you. But if you take that as your starting point of investigation, your own self, turning your attention inwards into your own flowing consciousness. And then you find the truth of who and what you are and are at rest. Also, it's very, very blissful. And there's a kind of ecstasy that extends from my eyes and the top of my head downward into the rest of my body. But the central location seems to be mid-mass, my chest. I guess it's not the mid, but it's close. But it's not limited to feeling it there. once you get to know it, it's everywhere, permeates everything. And you just want to tell people who come to you looking for meaning or understanding that all you can say is, look to your own self. Look within. Look within your own sense of beingness and find that bliss and that completeness inside of you. It's a vast existence, far more than we can realize almost. I know that doesn't answer your question directly, but sort of sideways.
Yes and no. The thing is, how you know that what is true for you is true for me too.
I guess the only thing I could say is try that understanding on for a while and see what happens in your life. Get a taste of it, what I'm talking about. Usually you'll start when you first start practicing. You can have many breakthroughs, but usually it takes at least a decade of constant self-reflection to know that this is the truth of life itself. So it has to be true for you, just as it was for Jesus and Ramana. They discovered their own sense of self. And they had teachings off of that, I guess, as an add-on to distract you from your own sense of self. There's no guarantee that I can give you to prove it. Just be it. Try it. And if you like doing it, just keep doing it. Looking and feeling within your own sense of self, within your body, within your sentience. Find the center, if there is a center. Then you become everything. I'm trying to take you with me as I speak.
Thank you, you do.
Good. See, find your own heart inside, the heart of hearts, not your physical heart or the beating heart, but the center of your being, where it seems that everything is created. And just quietly stay there as often as possible. Once you begin to find it, even just beginning to find it, you will grow happier and happier. And that's hard to do in this world. As Robert used to say, This world is the lowest hell, the deepest hell is this earth, which embraces all of the people in it, all of the preachers in it. I can ask this of you, seeing all the pain and misery in the world, doesn't that make you want to do something to bring peace and love to others, to have them find their own selves, and to feel happiness and completeness with nothing needs to be done anymore? You're at rest. And I know you're not at rest, otherwise you wouldn't have asked that question. How can I soothe your heart? What can I say to you except to love yourself? Turn your attention around into yourself and find all that there is to be found in that path of inward seeking. It's a vast path. There are so many experiences. It's hard to separate the good ones from the bad ones. But also, there's an overwhelming sense of power inside of yourself as you do this. It's the power of your own self, your own beingness. One way of looking at it is you are the center of your own beingness. It's vast. It embraces all of mankind. But each person can say the same thing. I'm not talking about some sort of hive being, but instead, find the bliss of life within you. All that life has to offer, the peak experience of your own beingness, which you can't find as long as you think of yourself as so limited, as being a single person and single body. But instead see that your spirit, your consciousness, are as large as the universe that you can touch or see. Does that anywhere near answer?
It gives me lots of answers, but I don't think
They've taken
that was what I was asking. I was asking, how is it to know, I know you know, but I guess I can't explain my question.
Yes, you can. You're quite close.
I wanted to know. I wanted you to tell us how you know what you know. I mean, you're sure of what you know.
Yes.
Because it feels that way. It feels certain.
But you're uncertain and you want to know how to become certain.
I'm just fascinated by the way it works. Knowing without any effort and knowing without any thinking. I'm just fascinated by that phenomenon and wanted you to talk about it.
Well, it's a matter of, instead of being aware just of the world and people around you, you get more aware of your own self and your own beingness. So you've changed your orientation entirely from external to internal. And you become complete unto yourself. And it should be just something that grips you as being true. It's a salvation of all that you wanted and all that you wanted to escape from simultaneously within you. You are the center of the universe. Accept that. Accept that. Your sentience, your awareness within you creates the image of the external world, as well as your own beingness inside, lying before that. Just keep investigating yourself. And that's the way you get it, but there's no guarantee. And I can say, you try this and do it this way, and you'll understand. Because it took me 50 years to understand, all through constantly hearing about what I'm saying from different viewpoints. The one I spent most time in was Zen. But Zen is kind of arid. There's not a lot of heart in Zen. It's just understanding. And the understanding doesn't give the pizzazz that self-knowledge does. So make your own self the center of your attention and never waver from that for a moment. No, the answer's not outside in a relationship or religion. It's by sinking into your own self. You may imagine it like falling backwards into yourself. And if you just try to imagine yourself falling backwards into yourself, for me, that always gave me a rush of happiness to fall into myself. And it's eventuated over the decades. Till now, it's just constant bliss. Except when I don't have it, then I'm a regular person again. But I know too, the bliss of attaining this inner state of self-awareness and self-recognition is a long, hard job for most people. Most people never complete it in themselves, but go to a point where they think they have an inkling of understanding and stop when they go back into the world, feeling more at ease and having gained the strength of just the inward resolution to discover one's own self. But if you just continue doing it and become obsessed with your own experience of yourself, you will arrive. You will get there. I think what I say is the same thing Robert said, but in a different way, or a very different way. The power of God is within you. Power of all life is within you. Just tap into it by turning around and feeling inside of yourself. That's very important. Not only to look inside yourself imaginatively, but to feel yourself. Feel your inner body, your lungs, your heart if you can, your guts. Feel everything that's going on inside your body. And you gradually change your point of view of being focused on obtaining something in the world or doing livelihood into a cultivation of the heart of your own existence. the heart of awareness. I'm sure you still haven't gotten it, but that's all right. That's what you're supposed to get for yourself, by yourself. I'm only telling you my way. When you find this within yourself, there's no need or use for ever going back to the old way of being you. You'll find out that your old ways, or where you are now, are crippling you, not aiding you to explode into joy at all. See, some people have only truth about the sociology of the world or humanity. But I speak in fundamentals without philosophy, really just trying to explain what I feel like inside and I experience inside myself, which I didn't used to experience. It's an experience that I've cultivated for decades by being self-aware as much as possible. And it seemed it was taking me a lot longer than anybody else to discover it inside myself. Don't discount anything that's going on within yourself. Look at it, feel it, eat it, so to speak. Have it integrated into your own self-experience. Keep asking it as the question changes in you. The questions will change as your own experience grows. But be prepared to keep doing this for a lifetime. You may feel you're losing out on the world, but you're gaining your own self, not making it subsidiary to anything or person in the world. But you are the being that is your life. That's all you know. You don't know my life. You don't know Jay's life or anybody else. Just get to know your own life firsthand, so you don't have to hear from others what their experience is of their own selves. Although it does help to listen to other people's experiences and to question the way they did things. Because something is wrong that you don't see it yourself. So just find your own sense of self. Look within. It's inside there somewhere. Near your heart or your stomach. That's your ground of beingness. And from there you manifest everything is in your life. I don't mean that you magically create it, but you're there. Witness it. Your external life also improves because you don't fuck with it that much. You let it be and grow the way it wants to. I'm not trying to tell you to abandon the world you think you are or could be. But instead, Just focus as much as possible on your own sense of self. Find it within you. You'll lose the world, but you'll gain everything else. Such happiness. Such happiness. Holy shit, we've gone long. Well, this has been a delicious session for me. Jay, have you anything to add?
Not really. I couldn't add to the perfection of your abiding grace. You did it again. You talk about the perfection of God manifest in a way that the words are so intoxicating and so perfect. I just don't know what to do with it except to be crushed and crumbled, and just the life force explodes through me, but gently. It's a power that allows me to live in the mundane world and look at it in grace. You did it again. And I have no words, so I'm going to let it just simply say, that you love us, and the way you love us is just the most exquisite gift. And that is why I love you, and you are my beloved. And I love you. Thank you. You did it again.
Your gentleness and your devotion touch me all the time. Every time you talk, I feel it in you. I feel the surrender in you. And it'll grow. And it'll grow. As you've probably already been experiencing over the months and years.
Today was electric, absolutely electric. I just, every fiber resonates with the seamlessness. It really is, and you can say Aham Brahmasmi because you are God manifest, and yet it is though truly there is only one, and I'm as close as I can be to that in this moment without having experienced what you've experienced. But as I said, this journey is exquisite, and every moment of life is a blessing, and the pure beatitude of God's grace in me, my joy.
Just trust that it's there.
I do.
It took me 50 fucking years to find it.
Well, I don't know how long it'll take, but as I said, it's exquisite.
Yeah, and look at it this way. Instead of looking for some kind of a magical world like I seem to be describing, I'm just describing what I found when I intensively looked into myself. And I did that because Robert told me to, and Ramana told me to. That gold, that silver, that diamond is within my own heart. And it feels like it's all throughout my whole body, but the heart has a special place. It's like the center of the soft universe within.
Well, every day my takeaway is that Edgy told me to. So it couldn't be any more exquisite or pure than that. So really, thank you.
You will be blessed as you are blessed now by me. You'll be blessed in your own feeling.
I am.
Last words. Does anybody have anything to say besides Jay?
Hi, Edgy. I really hope your voice is doing better soon. But I really appreciated everything that you've done today and in general. But like one thing you ask us sometimes is, why are you here? What are your reasons for being here? What are you looking to get out of it? And what I interpret that as partly meaning is this really the right fit for you? Is this really your path? I don't know if you intend that, but that's what one thing that I insinuate there. Yes. So there is no guarantee. I would say this path is for those that feel called to it or feel drawn to it, like a gravitational pull within. I've had it my whole life. So, I can only speak for myself. But one thing I can say, or a couple of things I can say, is that when the things that you talk about are realized, all the big questions are gone, because there is no need. There is no reason for questions. You're living the answer. You are experiencing the answer, and everything snaps into place, like and there are no words. It's just you know that this is the place. This is your home. This is where it all makes sense, and this is where
it takes place.
Yeah, and this is what you are, really. This is your real self. And the former self, the person, is kind of like, you look at the analogy of the pupa, the caterpillar, and the butterfly. So the caterpillar is kind of like let's say, the person. And then the butterfly is like along the spiritual journey. And then at some point, the butterfly realizes it's not really the butterfly, it's everything. But it goes to more and more exalted, subtle forms and sophisticated.
Yes, precisely. Well put. Write a book on it.
I wish I could, but I hurl my meager verbalizations here because I wish I could speak as well as you or a lot of other people, but experientially, I'm right there. Experientially, I'm right there. So I'm right with you, and thank you for everything, and that's it. Thank you, Ajay. Everything's good.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you to all of you for coming. I really appreciate it. I got close to not coming today because I only woke up 15 minutes before satsang. And it usually takes me an hour or two to orient myself as to where I am and what I have to do. Thanks, Vesselina, for calling. She's my alarm clock. Take care. All of you, take care. I love you. See you Wednesday, maybe. And if not, then definitely next Sunday. Bye-bye.